Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today is the fifth lecture of organic base industry. We have already talked about polyethylene production and their application, part 1 in the previous lecture. However, the rest of the part we are going to discuss today. These are the key contents or key concepts of the lecture. First of all, we shall discuss about the morphology of polyethylene polymers, and then we shall move to the structure property relationship. It will help you to understand how the structural features of polyethylene help to control the properties of the polymers, and few of their applications we shall enlist them again. Talking about the morphology of polyethylene polymers, normally solid polyethylene is semi-crystalline in nature. As far as commercial products are concerned, the majority of polyethylene they contain only orthorhombic crystallinity of the type. We have shown the orthorhombic type of crystal in here. You can see how how ethylene molecules they can be placed to form this type of crystal structure. And basically in orthorhombic unit cell, it contains a complete chain segment running down in center and parts of 4 others, each of which is located at the corner of unit cell. I mean, you place 4 ethylene molecules at the corners of the unit cell, and another chain is placed in the center of the orthorhombic unit cell. Basically, we observe a continuum of ordering in the semi-crystalline morphology of polyethylene, which improves as the degree of crystallinity increases. Just like we can say that at the lowest level of crystallinity, we say that it is represented by very low density polyethylene. If the density is very low, we say that the crystallites are very small and isolated with dimensions of approximately 2 to 5 nanometer in any direction. When we talk about the modest level of crystallinity, that is the medium pace, typical of low density and linear low density polyethylene exist. Crystallites can go up to the you can say lamellar form. As you can see in the diagram here, the lamella are basically a polymer containing if you read the first diagram, it is about a spherulite. Spherulite is basically these are the you can say the nucleation or the growth of a polymer starts in the middle and they go towards the edges of a sphere and they grow in the form of fibers. But basically these fibers, if you see a cross section, these are the crystalline lamella. They have you can see the folded structures of the polymer chains, and basically in the center is the crystal nucleus. So what I said that the low density polyethylenes in these type of polyethylene crystallites are very small and they are isolated, but in case of modest form of crystallinity, you can see low density polyethylenes and linear low density polyethylenes exist, and in these cases lamella are these folded structures. They are 5 to 10 nanometer wide. But when we talk about the high density polyethylene, then you can say the packing or the crystalline order is so much developed that these lamella they arranged themselves in the form of spherulites. That is the uppermost diagram in the slide. This is what is they say in that on a large scale lamella they are organized to form spherulites, that is the perfection of which increases with the degree of crystallinity. At the highest level of crystallinity, they say the exhibited by high density polyethylene crystalline lamella, they range from 10 to 20 nanometer in thickness with lateral dimensions of up to several hundred nanometers. It means they grow to such a big sizes now. Lamella are basically typically parallel with their neighbors, and spherulites are well organized with diameters up to several tenths of micrometer. Basically, high density polyethylenes, they consist of stacks of lamella with their planes approximately perpendicular to the principal orientation direction, that is their chain axis aligned with the orienting force. You can remember it just like that, that if you talk about high density polymers, we said that in high density polymers spherulites exist. So spherulites are it means that they arrange themselves in a arrangement or the orientation where their lamella, they are if you see the cross section, then they are arranged perpendicular to the direction of the original fibers कह लें इसको शायद, तो it can work like that. Okay, and there is one thing more, that when density increases, then lamellar thickness also increases. Then we say that the melting temperature also increases. That is, very low density polyethylenes, they begin to soften and melt in temperature, and it's just temperature is around sometimes near just you can say that they melt at near room temperature. But when we talk about low density or linear low density polyethylenes, they typically exhibit peak melting temperature around 95 to 120, and in case of high density polyethylene, their temperature goes as high as 125 to 130 degrees. So morphologies and melting temperature, they are strongly influenced by crystallization conditions, and they are all these all things are interrelated. If you see at the table, then this is the summary of semi-crystalline orders in polyethylenes. When we talk about very low density polymers, we say that the densities are less than low density linear low density polymers are linear low density polymers. Then comes the next thing, which is high density polymers. This is similarly it is, you can say, the correspondingly match with the degree of crystallinity. It means that in low density polymer, the crystallinity is as low as almost 5%. It could be as low as 5%. But in case of high density polymer, because they are in high density polymer, there are there are not many branches there. So what they do, they can arrange themselves very well, and the crystallinity is as high as 75% of the polymer bulk polymer. Similarly, they have told us about the thickness and lateral dimensions and how the semi-crystalline organization is done. That is, in very low density polyethylenes, the crystallizer isolated, while in case of low density, you can say the small lamellar stacks are seen, while in case of linear low density, very poorly defined spherulites are seen. But in case of high density lamella, they extensively align each other to form spherulites. Okay, let's discuss the structure property relationship of these different structural variants of polyethylenes. Basically, the physical characteristics of polyethylene resins, they vary widely as a function of their density. The density of polyethylene is highest when it has very few branches to hinder the crystallization process. That is, you know that when branches are more, then crystallization is hindered. So this is what we want to make it clear, that you can take an example of a 3 millimeter thick flake of high density polyethylene. It is opaque to light and it's a white solid, but that can be fixed or you can say that can be flexed moderately by hand. In its lowest crystalline, when we compare this one to low density polyethylene, it is clear and flexible with very low density of the polymers. The form of polyethylene that are made entirely from hydrocarbons, that is the ones with no oxygenated branches, have very little dipole moment and are thus largely chemically inert. Means when you talk about polyethylenes, and they are very refinedly formed, and they are without any cross-link or any impurities present, then they are very inert. Most type of polyethylenes, they have somewhat waxy feeling and are odorless, or you can say that these are tasteless. And now we shall discuss about the structural variants, and we have studied about their structures, and now we will see that how their structures affect the properties of these polyethylenes. Talking about the high density, you can say the starting from high density polyethylenes. Basically, in high density polyethylene, if you remember their structure, they were linear polymer chains with almost no or little branches. So due to low level of branches, there is little to almost no hindrance to crystallization of high density polyethylenes. So what we observed that almost 60% of the bulk polymer, it goes for the crystallization, which translates into densities ranging from almost 0.94 to 0.97 grams per cubic centimeter. So we can also infer that this is the stiffest of all the polyethylene types. So what we say that in some cases we incorporate small amount of a comonomer such as 1-hexene can be added, which reduces the crystallinity level. This improves the toughness at the expense of stiffness. So we can make the material somehow flexible, or you can say we can increase its elasticity by adding some sort of monomers like 1-hexene. And also we say that in case of high density polyethylenes, these are widely used in making films, pipes, and in injection molding and blow molded application. There are different applications of these polymers, and basically high density polyethylenes, they can be cast or blown into very thin films such as those used in grocery sacks or institutional trash can liners, and they have characteristic crisp sound when handled. Due to their high crystallinity, pipes and molded items, they are stiff. We already talked, they have very high stiffness. So they have excellent resistance to permeability of aqueous fluids. So aqueous fluids can't really pass through them. So high density polyethylene, but what we know, we can know about them that they are very prone to, because they are very stiff materials, so they are very prone to polymer necking. Necking is basically tensile deformation or large strain. If you just apply a large amount of force or strain to these high density polyethylenes, then they tend to go for necking process. So what happens to them? They become white in the process due to light scattering by the empty spaces formed within the material. Okay, let's talk about the structure property relationship of low density polyethylene. Just as we discussed about high density polyethylenes, we know that in polyethylenes there are polyethylene chains. So the main chains, they have sometimes branches and sometimes they don't have. So in case of low density polyethylene, the level of branches is very high, and because of this high level of branches, the crystallinity is very less, because it is very hard to organize these polymer chains or make their ordered arrangement. So the less crystallinity and low density is associated with low density polyethylenes. So if their density is as low as 0.91 to 0.94 grams per cubic centimeter, and which equates to the crystallinity level ranging from 30 to 55%. So we have discussed about the crystallinity level, that it is around, like it is as low as 5% for high density polyethylene, and it is 30 to 55% for low density polyethylene. So this highly branched nature of low density polyethylene and its broad molecular weight distribution, it gives it high melt strength, and जितनी जो है ना उसमें क्रिस्टलिनिटी कम होगी या ऑर्डर अरेंजमेंट कम होगी, तो उसकी जो है ना वो हाई मेल्ट स्ट्रेंथ होगी एंड गुड शेयर थिनिंग प्रॉपर्टीज. बेसिकली व्हाट इज शेयर थिनिंग? Shear is a force that is applied in the direction in which an object or polymer is moving. So when we say like shear thinning, so it means that when you apply a shear force, then the viscosity of that polymer is decreased, so we say that it is the shear thinning property of that polymer. Similarly, we have another term, we call it as shear thickening. And shear thickening, you are very familiar with shear thickening effect. You may have heard about के दलदल जिसे हम कहते हैं, क्विक सैंड में यही होता है ना, that when you apply shear force, the force that is applied in the direction where object is moving, so the thing, you say the quicksand, it thickens. So it is the same type of thing, that in that case that quicksand, it thickens, but in this case we are talking about shear thinning properties. So these kind of properties, they are highly desirable for polymers. So we say that low density polyethylenes, they are very desirable, they have very desirable and very present properties, and because of these desirable present properties, we frequently blend low density polyethylenes into other type of polyethylenes that are more difficult to process. Thereby we try to improve the processability of other materials too, through by using low density polyethylene blend. And when we talk about these low density polyethylene blends, then we say that what kind of these are the properties. So what are their uses? So we say that these basically the films made from low density polyethylenes, they are highly transparent because their spherulites are generally significantly smaller than the wavelength of light. They are very, very small spherulites. And thicker samples are translucent, but text can be read between almost 3 mm thick tape when it is placed in contact with the printed page. But what does it mean? That they are 3 mm thick, but they can be, even light can pass through them and we can see a printed page, or we can read it still. So molded items, they are flexible and resilient, requiring strains of almost 20% or more to initiate yielding. Yielding, basically yielding is the process in polymers, or you can say it also happen in steel, that viscoplastic deformation. This is the sort of deformation applied, that is accompanied by the viscosity changes too. This was all about low density polyethylene structure property. Coming to linear low density polyethylenes. Basically, we can control the density of linear low density polyethylene by adjusting a percentage of 1-alkene. You know that we have rather studied in the previous lecture that how we can make a linear low density polyethylene. We can make it by adding some particular amount of 1-alkene. We already talked that the percentage of comonomer was said to be around 2 to 8 mole% of comonomer. That could be 1-alkene, and by varying the percentage of 1-alkene, the density is also varied. That is, it varies from 0.90 to 0.94 grams per cubic centimeter. So linear low density polyethylene products have similar degrees of crystallinity and stiffness compared to their low density polyethylene counterparts. Transparency, when we talk about transparency, flexibility, it increases as the density decreases. So the properties of high densities of linear low density polyethylene approach those of high density polyethylenes. So you see that because this is flexible, we can change the percentage of comonomer. So these are also known as medium density polyethylenes because their properties are somehow adjustable and also lie between low density and high density polyethylenes. Okay, and then when we say that they have what kind of properties they could have, we say that they have excellent toughness both as films and molded items. They have excellent puncture and tear resistance. So because of these properties, suits them for bulk packaging of heavy or irregularly shaped items. There are many different ways by which linear low density polyethylenes can be made. One of them is we say that Ziegler Natta catalyst. If we make them from using Ziegler Natta catalyst, then we say that the resins are, you can say, these polymers, they are very they tend to stick to each other. That's why we can use them in cling wraps. Otherwise, we say that when we make these polymers from metallocene catalyst, they are less tacky than the ones made by Ziegler-Natta catalyst, because Ziegler-Natta catalyst we already discussed about them, that they have broader molecular weight distribution, but in case of metallocene catalyst they have narrower molecular weight distribution. So what we want to conclude is that molded items exhibit a desirable balance of flexibility and resistance. And when we talk about high density linear low density polyethylenes, then they go for yielding and also necking. But in case if they have low density, then they deform more uniformly instead of just necking and yielding. Next come very low density polyethylenes. So we can vary the density of, just like low density linear low density polyethylene, we can also vary the density of very low density polyethylenes from 90 down to 0.86 grams per cubic centimeter by varying the comonomer level from 8 to 14 mole percent. At the basically at the highest comonomer level, crystallization is slowed down by the branches to such an extent that only 5% of material crystallizes. We discussed about the extent of crystallization before too. Basically what happens in them, that the crystallites, they are very small and they are poorly organized. So we polymerize these resins using single site catalyst, which give us relatively narrow molecular weight and very uniform distribution of polyethylene chains. They are relatively, when we talk about their properties, they are relatively soft and transparent because they are largely non-crystalline in nature. So film made from these materials are resilient with a moderate level of elastic recovery, as long as they are not stretched and beyond strain levels of approximately 100%. I mean beyond strain level of approximately 100%. Basically at lower density they feel a bit sticky and tacky. We often blend them with low density polyethylenes into higher density grades of polyethylenes or isotactic polyethylenes to boost their impact resilience. So it means that so far we have seen that that very low density polyethylenes are not that much ideal. So we have to blend them with low density polyethylenes to boost their properties. Basically the properties of ethylene vinyl acetate copolymer, they also vary with the ester contents. The lowest level of vinyl acetate, they have physical properties that are similar to those of low density polyethylene. It's just like similar that you have a polymer, and if the concentration of copolymer is least, then it means the properties should resemble to the original polymer. So that's why low monomer mole percentage पे क्या है कि their properties they almost match with the low density polyethylenes. But what happens as the co-monomer contact increases, the materials become less crystalline and more elastic. So we say that copolymer made with the highest co-monomer level contain no measurable crystallinity, means that the crystallinity is so low that we can't even measure it. So they are more flexible, they are more tough, and they are more elastic, and they are more clean. So the resulting products are such. The ester, basically this moiety increases the chemical activity of these polymers relatively to purely hydrocarbon variants of polyethylenes. So it is obvious in case of polyethylenes we don't have any functional groups present there, but in case of ethylene vinyl acetate copolymer, what happens that this type of comonomer, it increases the reactivity of this polymer. So in addition it can be used as packaging films such as ice packs or coatings of cardboard or aluminium foil. We can also make extensive use of ethylene vinyl acetate copolymers in adhesives. When we talk about cross-linked polyethylenes, basically their properties again depend upon the extent of cross-linking and also on the original resin or original polyethylene used. The crystallinity level of a cross-linked polyethylene, is lower than that of precursor resin. It is obvious because if you use any type of resin or original polyethylene and then you try to cross link that one, it means that it shall get hard to make their ordered arrangement, so the crystallinity will drop. So the crystallinity level of cross-linked polymer is lowered now because cross-linked polymers impede, or you can say decrease, the molecular reorganization during recrystallization. So as a general rule, we can say that cross-linked polyethylenes are somewhat more flexible than their precursor original resin polyethylenes, so due to their lower degrees of crystallinity. So cross-linked polyethylenes are tougher than their precursors because their chains are bonded together to form a network. So it is difficult, these are tough kind of materials. But unlike other types of polyethylene, we say that cross-linked polyethylenes, they don't flow when their crystallites melt. So we use cross-linked polyethylenes in applications that are, you can say that they may experience high temperature or where exceptional toughness is required. Such as you can say we can be used where insulation surrounding high voltage electricity is used, or chemical storage tanks में use हो सकते हैं, और white water kayaks में you know about kayakas are basically these are the small boat like things जो बहुत हाई जो है ना स्पीड पे और बहुत ज़्यादा हाई स्पीड पे जो वाटर जा रहा होता है उसमें जो है ना रोइंग करते हैं. And the last part, that is the ethylene ionomers. We know about the ethylene ionomers. What happens that the crystallinity level in ethylene ionomers, these are generally low because they have high level of branches, and mostly they exist in the form of clusters of metal salts. So what happens that when the temperature is changed to very high temperature, when we change it, so the clusters dissociate and individual chains can move independently in molten state. But what happens when we cool down the ionomers, then the clusters they reform and the crosslinks, that is the chains, they appear again. Due to their low level of crystallinity, these ionomers are transparent and flexible. The ionomers basically the ionomeric crosslinks, they prevent the chains from sliding past each other when a sample is stretched. It is similar behavior when there is a lot of branching, just like in low density polymers. So when the stretching force is released, material recovers elastically to its original dimensions. So they are very elastic and flexible. The these crosslink imparts high toughness, abrasion resistance, and also resistance to being cut. Combination of high level of toughness, elasticity, and cut resistance. These are very desirable properties, so it makes these polymers the material of choice for the outer layer of golf balls, which are subjected to tremendous physical abuse. And because these are very tough materials. So other uses include meat packagings where they are resistant to puncture by bones or high resistant to fat permeations. These are highly valued. Okay. Let's talk about that which kind of different products can be made from polyethylenes and how the different properties or you can structural features of these polyethylene impart them different kind of properties that make them suitable for the real properties we can use in our society. So we have talked about the toughness of these materials, we have talked about the flexibility of these materials, we also talked that how these materials they can be used with the variable properties, so we can change their impermeability to aqueous liquids, and also their transparency can be changed, and then we can use some if we know that this particular thickness of a polyethylene sheet, if it is opaque or it is transparent to light, we can change its thickness to suitable for a particular application. So we say that if we use thicker sheets as geomembranes to line effluent collection ponds and landfill where its impermeability is very high, just like in landfill where waste is disposed, so where we can line these thicker sheets and the material that is decomposed, it can be impermeable, or the puncture resistance, its puncture resistance is used in this way. So this is very important use of these polyethylenes. And also we say that rigid pipes and flexible tubings, they are also made from polyethylenes. And these flexible tubings or rigid pipes, these are used to distribute natural gas, and also they can be used to transport aqueous fluids in different important industrial settings, in agriculture and also in mining industry it can be used. And also it is used to basically isolate electrical conductors ranging from low voltage wire to high voltage electrical cables. So we can say that basically we have talked about these features, that they can sometimes sustain very high temperature. So because of these properties, they are used with in connection with very high voltages. So there they can be used from low voltage wires, and also they can be used in high voltage wire, depending upon a particular nature of that polyethylenes. So what happens that in the later application, we said that when we use it as with the high voltage electrical cables, we say that we cross-link polyethylene to withstand temporary overheating that could melt regular polyethylenes. So by varying the structural features, different applications are used. When we talk about EVA copolymer, basically it is widely used as a coated material on cardboard to make used to make milk or fruit juice drink cartons. So in these cartons, because it's a very good, you can say that its impermeability is almost zero. So and also it is a well coat for the these fruit juices, and also it's very less reactive. So this kind of things can help to decide that which kind of uses we can employ in for these polyethylene chains or polymers. So these polymers, the thin layer of these polymers, it adheres strongly to cardboard, forming a impermeable lining that can be melted to form liquid tight seals. There are further uses of these polyethylenes, that they are used in making blow molded bottles for foods, household products and industrial chemicals, because of their toughness, their light weightness. So these kind of features, they are used to make the household products, or their application in the you can say that food industry. And also we can use them in the outdoor furniture. They can also used in adhesives, in pails, in toys and food storage containers, and because of their stiffness and their extraordinary strength. So the same material, we know that it is polyethylene, but on one hand it is used as a plastic thing, or you can say, and in one hand it is used as a insulator thing, or you can say on the other hand it is used as a you can say that adhesive or something like that. So depending upon its structural features and their density, we can make their use accordingly. So we say that rationally molded objects, including kayaks or agriculture chemical storage tanks, can be used where lightweightness and toughness of these materials is used. So, and also they are used in the bed liners and panels of portable sanitation facilities, are made by thermoforming. So there are different techniques are used to change their morphology, or you can say that change their structural features to fit into particular property. When we talk about ultra high molecular weight और अल्ट्रा ओरिएंटेड फाइबर्स, दे हैव जितनी उसकी जो है वो डेंसिटी ज़्यादा हो जाएगी, उसको जो है वो उसकी टेंसियल स्ट्रेंथ इंक्रीज हो जाएगी, विच सूट्स देम फॉर यूज इन बुलेट प्रूफ वेस्ट. मीन्स के इतनी दे गेट इट सो मच स्ट्रॉन्ग, दे कैन बी यूज इन बुलेट प्रूफ वेस्ट. Here is a link to the reference I used for this for the structure property relationship, and also you can say in general polyethylene, their manufacture and properties. It's a complete, almost I guess, a chapter, so you can study it from there, and I can also provide this book to you through the our classroom material. Here are few assignments. Like I want you to make a comparison of the structural property relationships of these various polyethylene structural types, and also please identify which properties can make polyethylene good for packaging material. You know that there are few polyethylene structural types we discussed that they are very good for packaging material. So you can make a comparison that which one are used for packaging material and also which properties are making them suitable for packaging material.